All right, cool. What's going on?
Nada, man. Getting pumped for this card. This week is going by pretty quick, so
And we're
I'm
gonna be at
uh
weigh-ins
I'm
before we even know it.
yeah. I was just reviewing it. I mean, this card is pretty good, top to bottom. It is a tough card for betting purposes, but I think there's a lot more implications for the fighters uh, for these fights. Like I think there could be some big steps forward, or some potentially huge steps back, and possibly careers. If we actually take a look from the more from the outside in and get the big perspective of some of these fighters' careers.
Yeah, man. And we also have like Cody Garbrandt fighting on not even the top prelim. We have Irene Aldana. We have Dustin Jacoby. We have Cody Durden, Andre Feely. Like a lot of names on here that, pretty decent names all the way down on the prelims. And then we get to the top and it's a lot of changing a guard fights on the main card, but also, those old dogs got a little bit of fight left in them. So I feel like we're going to see at least one of those three changing of the guards fights. At least one of them, the veteran's going to catch the young buck. But it'll be interesting to see how those go and then how Pantoja, Royval, and Edwards Covington, because to me, those two are both pretty coin flip fights.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the main event is gonna be. Do I say that exciting? I think it's gonna be a long, full fight, 25 minutes, and I think it's just gonna be calculated by Colby. But we'll get to that one.
Yeah, they're both, not known for being exciting. They're both known for when they have a good fight, like when Leon fights well, it's usually slow. And it's usually, I'm going to kick your leg and then I'm going to kick your body and then I'm going to jab you in the face. And then 2 minutes are going to go by with nothing. And Colby, good fight by him is lay and smell your wiener, but like you said,
Yeah.
we'll get to those. The card kicks off with Randy Brown versus Muslim Salikov. Do you have any strong leans here?
No. Um, this is two older guys. A rude boy, Randy Brown. I think I faded him. Um, last time against Wellington Turman, and he ended up beating him in a decision. He lost to Jack Della Maddalena. He got subbed by him, which Jack he's been doing pretty well. Obviously we lucked out, or I shouldn't say we lucked out. He lucked out not going against um,
Sean Brady.
uh, yeah, Sean Brady. That was luckily for him because he almost got stopped by the guy they brought in on a week's notice.
Bazil,
But
baby.
Rude Boys, yeah, but I mean, Rude Boy's got some good wins. Francisco Trinaldo, Chaos Williams, Jared Gooden. But this guy that he's going against, Muslim Salikov, King of Kung Fu. He's coming off a decision loss to Nicholas Dalby, which isn't anything, you know, to hang your head on. He does have a win over Andre Fiallo, which we know how Fiallo's big. Is he still with the UFC?
Honestly, I'm not sure. If he is, it won't be for long.
I think he got cut, and then he's got a loss to the Leech, um, and then he's got a win as well over Francisco Trinaldo. Um, this is tough because he's 39 years old, um, going against another guy that's 33 years old. So neither one of these guys are young bucks. Um, plus money, I'd probably go with Muslim. I think he might be able to get the edge here. I mean, I don't know. This is a tough one. The plus money on a fight that I think could be a coin flip because I don't think Rude Boy is anything great. Do I think Muslim is anything great? No, but if it comes down to plus money, I take the plus guy probably every time. Um, as much as I love Wellington Turman, we knew he's gonna be, he's not it.
Yeah, he's
And
not
no
the
matter
goods.
matter what he does, he just got finished brutally um, last fight. So it's a coin flip. It should be a good fight because I think this is one of those fights where, especially Muslim, he's fighting for um, a contract. He's fighting, to see if he could stay in the UFC at 39 years old. Um, that's no easy feat, and he's given up an 8-inch reach advantage. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a tough fight for him. I do like the plus money, but I'll probably just be watching this one. I don't. It could go either way. This is such a coin flip, and that's how they're starting off the card. You're gonna see this throughout the whole card.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling like putting my hard-earned money on either of these guys. If I had to pick, it would be Salikov, like you said. I think he's just a little bit better of a striker than Randy Brown, but also Randy Brown has the 8-inch reach advantage and the 4-inch height advantage. He's got all the intangibles, and Muslim Salikov is 39, so I mean, I guess I can see why Randy Brown is minus 270 here, but I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. There wouldn't be a single part of me that would want to put any money on Randy Brown minus 270 because it's Randy Brown. And Salikov, he's sneaky. He's not a terrible fighter. He's done all right. He's won more than he's lost in the UFC, so I don't know. I would just wait this one out. There'll be better opportunities down the line on this card for sure.
Yeah.
This next
All
one,
right.
wow, this
So
is Doughboy Central here.
yeah. So Gaziv versus Budai. All right. So first of all, heavyweights, right? Big heavyweights. These guys are probably gonna to max it out around the 260 265 limit. Both 6'4", pretty much identical reaches. These pretty much are the same guys fighting each other.
They look the same
Um,
too.
they look the same. Um, the thing that I'm gonna take on this is that it gets finished. I don't think this one will go to cards at all. Um, if you just look at Budai, his last win over Parisian was a sub. He did go to a decision with Jake Collier, which I do not like. Um, but before that, he had a split decision and then a technical decision against Chris Barnett. So Budai is stringing it together. That Kimura win over Parisian was huge. But the plus money on uh, Gaziev is what's crazy to me. Undefeated, and he's finished everybody in his last last 4 out of 5 fights.
Who is it though?
Um,
Who's he finishing? That's the question.
I know they got him. Here's the thing, though. They got him ranked as was it the number 21 guy in Russia? I mean, you're not talking about the number 21 guy in Rhode Island. This isn't,
Yeah, I got
you know what I mean? This
16 in Russia is what my website says.
okay. So 16. He's a 16th ranked heavyweight in Russia. That to me shows that he's legit. Big Russia is right.
Yeah.
Russia's not some small little shithole country. These guys are born and bred to fight. Um, even though he is from Bahrain, I don't know where he's training out of. It has to be obviously. You would think Russia.
Let's see here.
Um,
No, he's training out of Bahrain. but
All right, so
Makachev
he's
trains there. So there's
born
Magomed
Dagestan,
Magomedov.
born, yeah, born Dagestan, Russia. Plus money, I'm taking the Daggy all day. And I think it'll get a finish. So at plus money, you can go plus money and with him and to win by finish. That'll be a nice little thing. I mean, you don't have to go crazy on it. Um, but if the guy's a finisher, you know, he's got one decision, and it was a split decision. Um, if you think about it, I would take the guy that finishes pretty much 90% of his fights.
Yeah. Here's
And
okay.
here's the thing though. It's not, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
He's knocking people out and he's submitting people. So you don't know, it can go anywhere. It's not like a normal heavyweight where it's like, you got to knock him out or you got to deal with the wrestling or you got to deal with like a Almeida where it's a quick sub or something like that. This guy can take it anywhere, which I think is gonna be the key here, especially if you go to a decision with Jake Collier. I mean, what are we talking about? How is he favored?
Yeah. I see. Okay, I see what you're saying. This Gaziev guy, also his picture, he looks like Hamza Chimaev's like older brother. They have like the same face. But to me, this fight is like very very binary. It's just gonna depend on the cardio of Gaziev. If he has good cardio, then I think he's gonna do just fine here and probably, I think he has the higher skill set. Like as a fighter, if I had to say, who has the better striking, who has the better wrestling, it's probably gonna be Gaziev. But Boudet has the pace, and at heavyweight, that's a fucking weapon. Like when you have a pace at heavyweight, that can break a lot of guys who are a lot better than you. And I think that's why he's won a lot of fights in the UFC is Boudet just he's not overly technical, he's not overly skilled. He just pushes a pace and he just kind of does the Ben Rothwell where it's like walk forward, hit you and then protects himself enough and then he just has a cardio. Like he's got a tank of gas there that he shouldn't have for a guy who's 6'4", 266 and not particularly, slim around the waist. So for me, I feel like this is a coin flip fight, and seeing Gaziev as the underdog is you know it's a little bit tempting. I'm gonna be scared just because we haven't seen him in the UFC yet. We saw him on Contender Series, so I'll probably pass. But if I had to pick a winner, like if I had to put my life on it right now, I'd probably side with Boudet's cardio, but with zero confidence. Like I have zero
Yeah.
confidence in that happening at all. Gaziev could come in and knock him out. Boudet is probably not going to knock out Gaziev because Boudet doesn't have the same amount of power as Gaziev. But like this is, I'm excited to see this though because both of these guys have a pretty high upside. I think in the UFC, both of them are like 32, 33, which for a heavyweight, fairly young. Both of them have the physical asset of they're both big dudes and they're both strong and they're both have good chins and they're both powerful guys. Like Boudet, strong chin, powerful guy. Gaziev, same thing. He's a powerful guy and he has a lot of skill. So I'm interested to see who takes this one. I think this could be a future, not like a title contender or anything at this point, but this could be a guy who, has some decent fights in the top 20 at heavyweight in the UFC.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, we'll see. I think it's gonna be. I think it should be a good fight, but I think someone's getting finished. To be honest with you,
I would like to
I
see it.
yeah, I think I really have to go with a Daggy on this one. Um,
All
like I
right.
said, I don't know. Maybe I'll hit him by finish. Depending what the props come out as. But nothing crazy.
I bet him by finish will be like plus 250 ish.
Yeah, if that would be amazing.
I bet you that'll be his finish because I'm looking at the over 1.5 is minus 180, so they're leaning towards the fight at least extending into the end of the second, if not the third. So we'll see what that ends up with. This next one though, this one is pretty cool. This is gonna be a good fight because we got Feely versus Almeida, and Feely is he's Andre Feely. We know who he is. He's slick hands, slip combos, and then we got Almeida, who's kind of we don't really know a lot about him. We've seen him here. He lost to Pat Sabatini. He beat Trezano, And then before that, he had his loss to Daniel Zellhuber on Contender Series. Now Daniel Zellhuber is pretty decent. So we don't know a ton about this guy. A win over Trezano is okay. A loss to Sabatini. Sabatini's a good grappler. I can't really fault you there. Although our boy Diego Lopez, he ain't losing to Sabatini. Um, in Feely, for me, Feely's a guy that you bet when he's an underdog. You bet on Feely when he's, an underdog against a close fight and then he pulls a scrappy one out for you. He comes from Team Alpha Male, he scraps, he has hands, and he seems to perform well when he's in that underdog spot. When he's not in that underdog spot, I think it's a little bit rougher for him. He's coming off of a loss to Nathaniel Wood, a win over Bill Algeo, which was a split, a loss to Brito where he got absolutely nuked, and that loss to Nathaniel Wood, close fight. He looked pretty good. Wood is pretty decent. Feely looked good in that too. I just can't get around to betting him minus 180 here. Almeida is untested. We saw him take a loss, and he won the fight before. He looked good in the Trozano fight, though. He looked actually on fucking point. I rewatched that fight 2 days ago. He looked on fucking point in that fight. And then he looked really flat against Pat Sabatini. Who's going to show up? I have no idea. I'm not willing to bet on Almeida either. I'm just not willing to bet on Feely here when Feely is, what is he? 1-3-1 in his last five. He's a favorite here against someone that I don't know a lot about. Outright pick? I'll probably take Andre Feely outright pick. But again, it's just a zero confidence for me.
Yeah, I'm not touching anything with this one. I hope uh, Feely wins. I'm gonna root for him. But we're looking at, he hasn't ever since he fought Max Holloway. Um, everything kind of went. I mean, that was a long time ago. That's 2014. He can't really string it together. He's had a win, a loss, a win, a loss. I mean, I think he's strung maybe two wins consecutively.
Yeah.
And one of them's against, Dennis Bermudez and Artem Lobov is one of them. And then Miles Jury, which is, at that point, decent against, and then Shaman Moraes. He can't string them together. I really want him to get it going. But you're also looking at a guy who, I mean, at this age, it's not bad. He's only 30. Well, I mean, he's still up there, 33 years old, cutting down to 145, 22-10. He's taken a beating. We've seen him take beatings. I don't know how they have him as the favorite, to be honest with you, like you said. But then going against Lucas Almeida, who is kind of unknown. We don't know how he's going to come out. We don't really know how he's going to bounce back. If it's anything like how he bounced back after the Contender Series, he strung two together, and then, he finished Trezano, and he finished Trinidad, right? And then he got finished by Pat Sabatini, which you already said as well.
Yep.
Big grappling guy. He might finish Feely. I'm not sure. Otherwise, I think it could go to a decision. But I think he could edge out Feely. But we don't know how he's going to bounce back after that. After getting stopped. So yeah, I'm just gonna watch it. If plus money on Almeida seems to be the play here, if I was to play it. Um, but yeah, I'm not touching anything with it, especially when they got Andre Fili at minus 180. That seems a little crazy to me.
Yeah, he's just not a guy that, I would be willing to put money on at minus 180 against really anybody. Like maybe,
Well, here's the thing too.
newbie or
The
something.
UFC, listen, the UFC is making this fight. You got a guy that's 22-10 going against a guy that's 14-2.
Yeah.
You know, that right there should kind of throw a red flag at why are they making this fight. This might be something where, all right, well, everybody knows Andre Fili. Let's get Lucas Almeida, and if he gets a win over Andre Fili, that's a nice little notch to recover him from the Pat Sabatini loss. That might have been too much too quick.
Yeah, and Feely's not going to be initiating the grappling like Pat Sabatini did. Pat Sabatini is a
Correct.
really fucking good grappler. Feely's not going to be able to do that. It's going to be a striking fight, and Feely's good on the feet, but Feely also gets hit in the face a little too many times per fight, and if Almeida catches him with that one decent hook, Feely's gone down before. We've seen it, so it wouldn't surprise me to see him go down again.
All right.
This is a good one, dude. This is a great fight.
Tagir Ulanbekov versus Cody Durden. my heart wants to say take the Cody Durden side. Realistically, um, Ulanbekov I think is going to be the right play here. Um, Ulanbekov's 14-2, going against Cody Durden, who's 16-4. Um, Believe it or not, last time I actually bet uh, Ulanbekov, he was the final piece in a parlay. And that's when Tim Elliott was grabbing the cage, doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Cheating his
Um,
ass off, dude.
he cheated us out, and he got the win and blew up my parlay. But you know what? You gotta respect Tim Elliott for doing what he does to get a win. Um, this one, I just think it comes down to the not so much the level of competition, um, just maybe Namanes the sub win over fighting Tim Elliott, which was a close fight. Um, he lost through decision, but then if you look at Cody Durden, I mean Jake Hadley was a huge win. That was huge. That shocked a lot of people. Charles Johnson decision, Carlos Mota decision, JP Bays knocked him out. Obviously, JP Bays is toast now. Um, and then he's got a loss to Mokayev. I think this could be another one where it's a coin flip. I think both of these guys have something. I think Cody Durden is a legit flyweight. Um, I don't know. This is just should be another good one, and I could see this just being a real close decision fight. I mean, same age, same height, pretty much same reach. Uh, Cody's got a 3 inch shorter reach, but other than that, everything height, weight, all that stuff is the same age. So I think it's gonna be a close scrap. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't like siding with the rootin' tootin' racist UFC fighters, but I do think Durden probably gets a dub here. I like him. Like his wrestling has really, really came around in the UFC in his last four, and also his boxing has really, really came around. And I think that might be the best spot here for him is to try to keep this on the feet and just try to be smart with his striking. And I think he's gonna get it done. I really do. As an underdog here, he's got the gas tank. He also has, his athleticism. It doesn't look like he should be athletic when you look at the guy, but then he gets in there and he's doing some crazy shit. And after his loss to Makayev, he completely rejuvenated himself. I think he might have needed that loss, to be completely honest, because he looks like a different fighter after that loss than we saw before. Um, and so I mean, I'm feeling like a Cody Durden bet this weekend. I think he's gonna have the pace advantage here, which Ulanbekov has a great pace too. I just think Durden has a next level pace, and then I think Durden is gonna have the boxing on the feet. It's gonna come down to who can stuff the takedowns from the other one because they're both wrestlers. They're both wanting to wrestle and grapple, so it kind of comes down to that. And I think Durden will be able to stop. I think he'll be able to stuff the takedowns and maybe even get a few of his own. but it's going to be a tight scrap, like you said. And when you're betting a tight fight like that, I feel like always want to have the underdog, and not to mention the underdog with great cardio and all around fighting ability. And Ulanbekov, as well rounded as he is, I think he's a little bit more skewed towards the wrestling than Durden. Durden is definitely a wrestler at heart, but he has the striking to back it up that I'm not sure if Ulanbekov has right now. We'll see, but I think it's Durden for me.
Yeah, I definitely the path of victory is for Ulanbekov is to get Durden down, and try and sub him, uh, or get control time. He's definitely, I mean, he hasn't knocked anybody out, so
Yeah,
I don't see that as being um a possibility. But it's a fist fight, so it can go either way. What we have to look out with is Durden. He can put your lights out. Um, I mean, look at JP Bays. Like I said, granted he's kind of dust now, but he put him out, and that wasn't when he was a nobody. JP, so uh, we'll see. I think it's going to be a good fight, but Ulanbekov, his best path to victory is try and sub him, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close fight, and it's probably going to be a decision win.
I agree. I think it goes three, and then we get a close 29-28 sort of a deal.
Yeah.
This next one I'm not as excited for. It's
Oh boy.
Alonzo Atomic Menafield versus Dustin Jacoby. And they're both coming off of wins. Alonzo Menafield over a looked ancient, looked like he was broken Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute used to be a prospect. And then
Yeah.
something flipped in him, and he is a prospect no longer. That guy's career is done. He tried to retire. He didn't look like he wanted to fight. And then Jacoby coming off that win over Kennedy Nchukwu, which is actually a great win. Nchukwu was putting
Yeah.
together some crazy, crazy wins. And so for Jacoby to get that finish there, it just goes to show how good of a striker he is. And we know he was a good striker before that fight. We didn't know to that degree because he didn't have any of the physical, intangibles over Kennedy. Kennedy's taller, longer, a little bit better athlete. But Jacoby, he came in there and won it with that veteran mentality. I think he does the same thing here. I think it's pretty short and sweet. I think for me, the breakdown here is Alonzo Menafield has to knock him out. He's got to land the one big punch. Can he? For sure. Is he likely to land on Jacoby? For sure. I just think Jacoby probably takes one or two on the chin. Then he gets smart with it and gets his kicks going and his jab going. I won't be betting Jacoby because I've got better bets down the line, but I think I would probably pick Jacoby here.
Yeah. This is a tough one too because if you look at the line, uh, Lonzo Menafield is plus 200, which does seem crazy to me. He's a finisher. He finished Jimmy Crute by sub, but then Serkinov knocked him out, and then elbows on the crucifix, Askar Mozarov. And then you have Jacoby, who did have that nice knockout of Kennedy. But Kennedy also lit him up uh, once or twice in that as well. Even though it wasn't,
Yeah.
a crazy long fight, he did get clipped. Um, I mean, he's got a loss to Khalil Roundtree, which, we saw where he's at right now.
Whew.
He's got a win over Michael O. I don't see it as minus 245. I would lay something out where it's under 2.5, or fight doesn't go to decision, a finish. So I would take a win by finish, or under 2.5. But minus 245 is a little steep for me.
Yeah. I do agree there.
But we shall see.
You know what's an
We
interesting
shall
bet,
see.
Tim? The under 1.5 at plus 160. This one could
Um,
start fast.
it could, but I don't know. I
The
think
under
these guys are both pretty tough.
the under 2.5 like theoretically should be around even money then. Which I
'Cause
feel like this goes under. I feel like one of them's getting knocked out second round or end of the first.
yeah, I'm not sure about. I could see halfway maybe through
Yeah.
the second, maybe early into the second. But you gotta remember, you got like Jacoby who went to a split decision with Khalil Roundtree, who's starching everybody.
Yep.
Um, and then the same thing, he got a decision win over William Knight, who William Knight at that time was just legit stand up, and he was a thumper. So you got to take stuff like that into consideration as well. So these guys are tough as shit. Um,
Yeah.
so they could last a little bit longer. I don't think it'll go under 1.5, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. Um, and I could see under 1.5 for Menafield. To be honest with you, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, that would not surprise me either.
It's tough, man. This is extremely close fights, especially because this is this the last card of the year. Um, they're so close. They're so close. This might be one where you just throw a little bit here and there on each of the dogs because that's how close it is.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Uh,
This next one will be good too, Tim. I'll let you take this
I,
one.
I don't think it's gonna be uh, that good. I think it'll be a quick work. Casey O'Neill versus Ariane Lipsky. Um, I think Casey O'Neill um, kind of took it on the chin with that loss to Jennifer Maya. I thought that maybe she thought it would be an easy fight, um, but she was coming off a decent layoff, which is okay, no excuse. Um, but she is a finisher as well. She didn't get it over Roxanne Modafferi, um, but she can do it. She is capable, and obviously she lost a decision to Jennifer Maya. Lipsky, um, just won a split decision over Melissa Gatto, and then a decision over JJ Aldrich. Got stopped by Priscilla Cachuera. Uh, decision win over Mandy Baum, and then Montana De La Rosa knocked her out. So Lipsky's record is 16-8. Casey O'Neill is 9-1. This is a bounce back for Casey O'Neill. Both girls are young, 26 for O'Neill, 29 for Lipsky. This is to me, being from Scotland and everything like that, and she looks just like him. This is like the female Paul Craig. So this should be an easy win for Casey O'Neill. It wouldn't surprise me if she gets the finish here.
She does look like a female Paul Craig.
Yeah,
That's funny, dude.
Paul
I've never
Craig.
thought of that before yet. Paul Craig. Um, yeah, no, I'm pretty much on the same page as you here. Lipsky Sheik sometimes comes out and looks like a world beater. In that fight against JJ Aldrich, that's the one I'm really thinking of. Is she came out and obliterated Aldrich, and Aldrich was minus 250 or minus 300 in that spot. Surprised the hell out of all of us. But I think O'Neal is just a different beast here. I saw a little bit of media coverage that O'Neal's having knee issues and hasn't her knee has not returned. Like it swole, it got all swollen after her last fight, and she has not regained full like mobility and stuff in it since then. And her last fight, just want to get this right, was 8 months ago. So that's a little bit concerning. But O'Neal is the definition of a junkyard dog, and we love to fight. We love to bet on these junkyard dogs. I would be comfortable putting O'Neal in a parlay here, or looking at O'Neal by finish because I think she could get her down, and I think she could genuinely break Lipsky. O'Neal is going to move forward, and she's going to have everything in her toolbox cardio wise for the entire fight. She was coming on at the end of that Maya fight. Granted, she was getting her face jabbed off, but she was coming on there, and I think it was a good time to take a loss. You know, you were 25 when you took that loss. You're 26 now. You're not even in your prime yet, but I think she's gearing up for a run here. I think she's gearing up for sort of almost, might I dare say, the Colby Covington style run where she's gonna pressure, grapple fuck people. She is genuinely
Yeah.
just gonna walk you down, land a few, punches that don't look very technical. They're gonna look kind of stupid and slow and maybe not the best. And then she's gonna get your hands up with those punches, and then she's gonna grab your legs, and she's gonna throw you down on the ground. And I think she's gonna do that here. I think it's gonna be quick. This one could be one of those where it's like second round, Lipsky comes out emotionally broken, comes out completely different fighter than she was in that first round, and then O'Neal just capitalizes. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable on this O'Neal money line here in a parlay with something down the line, but O'Neal for me for sure, no doubt in my head.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Okay, what do we got next?
Oh, here we
This
go.
is our boy that we don't really like anymore.
No, I still like him. Don't be saying crazy stuff like that.
All right,
Um,
your boy Cody No Love.
Cody, Cody No Love Garbrandt versus Brian Boom Kelleher. So Cody is a pretty decent favorite here, minus 220 over Brian Kelleher plus 180. Um, Cody is younger by 5 years. Um, the question that everybody has is Cody's Cody's chin. Um, I don't I don't really think that is the issue. Um, the real I'm trying to think of a way to put this without sounding like a complete crazy person. His last legit knockout, as far as I'm concerned, was against Pedro Munoz, right? And that was almost 5 years ago. Granted, granted, he got stopped by Kai Kara France. As he also went down a weight class, and that was also coming off a pretty decent layoff, right? Over a year layoff against his last fight was before that was against Rob Font, which it went to a decision. This is 2.5 years ago. This isn't Rob Font of his last two fights this year.
Yeah.
He's a good striker. He's a slick striker, and then he just came back and fought Trevin Jones, and it should have been a win, but he showed that he did what he had to do, got the win, didn't throw any crazy shit. That's when he gets in trouble. He gets in trouble when his wires cross and then he just tries to flatline someone. That being said, Brian Kelleher, he got subbed by Batista, which I don't think Cody's gonna go for a sub. Umar Nurmagomedov subbed him, but then he's got to win over Kevin Kroom, and Pilarte, and then he's got a loss to Ricky Simone. I think the path for victory is for Cody to take him down, beat him up, wrestle him, maybe box on the outside, take him down, rinse and repeat. That's going to be the method of victory. Um, Cody's a world champ, so he's trying to get back on the path of trying to recreate that. Brian Kelleher is 37 years old. He's on a two-fight skid and lost, 3 of his last 5. Same as Cody. But you got to remember, Cody's 32 years old, a former champ, tried going down, didn't work out for him. Brian Kelleher is fighting for a contract, like we said earlier with some of these other guys. 37 years old. This is it, man. If
Yeah.
if he drops this fight to Cody, um, who's trying to stay relevant as well, this would be devastation, and this would be his last fight. So when you're fighting against somebody like that that's fighting for their career, you have to be careful. And we all know Brian Kelleher can knock people out. So it wouldn't surprise me if he clipped Cody and knocked him out. So I'm gonna lean Cody because if we got smart Cody, he will take him down. He will wrestle. I think he's the better wrestler, especially at alpha male. Um, Maybe they got him trying to have him go for a guillotine with Uriah Faber there. You know what I mean? Because that's their move, and they just saw that he got choked out his last 2 fights. So that could be a crazy game plan. Or Uriah Faber is a smart fucking guy. They might say get him on the ground, go for the rear naked, or go for the guillotine. They're not expecting you to go by submission, and that is a weakness of him. So that kind of makes me want to sprinkle a little Cody by sub. Um, but we'll see, man. I think this is gonna be a good fight as well. I think Cody should get it done. Um, After talking it out a little bit, I think I might hit a little Cody by sub because it wouldn't surprise me if that's the easiest path to victory for Cody.
Oh man, I really used to like Cody a lot. I was a big Cody homer. Um,
But he's honestly he's a good guy as well.
yeah, I'm starting to think though he's gonna get. I'm starting to think he's gonna get finished here. I don't really like Brian Keller, but I went back and watched their fights, and dude, Cody looks shot. Like I was that last fight of his looked really bad. I know he won, and it's a dub on his record, but he didn't do anything. He didn't really look like he was, making any improvements. It looked like the same old Cody. He just didn't get caught this time. And his losses have looked really fucking bad. And Brian Kelleher, I don't really, rank him highly, but he's tough enough and enough of a dog to give Garbrandt, a test of his will here. And if Cody Garbrandt drops in on a stupid takedown, Kelleher is going to guillotine his face off. Kelleher's got a great guillotine. Cody Garbrandt gets a takedown, he's going to lay on Kelleher. That's a given. Kelleher doesn't have the best get up game. Cody has a good wrestling frame. But I just the price on Cody here, I can't get around to it. I'm probably gonna have a little bit on Kelleher by finish in this spot here. 37, I don't love. Cody's 32, but he looks a lot more worn down than 32 with a 13-5 record. He looks like he could be 39 with a 24-11 record. And I love Cody, dude. He was probably my favorite fighter for a couple of years there. Um, but I'm just gonna have to take Kelleher here, and it's not a changing of the guard because Kelleher is old, but it just feels like Cody's gonna get tested, and I don't know if Cody's gonna be able to make it through that test because that last fight didn't really test him. But every single fight where we've seen him tested by a tough guy, he's been losing lately. So I'm gonna take Kelleher. I'll probably have a little bit on Kelleher by finish, but I don't know. It's kind of sad because I'm probably gonna want to cheer for Cody. So if I don't get any on Kelleher, I'll probably be okay because I do want to cheer for Cody. I like the guy, and honestly, it makes me a little fucking sad to talk about how his career went. He could have been a much different fighter than he ended up being, but he got caught up in that stupid TJ drama, and then he just fought angry every single fight after that. Dude put on
Uh,
the best performance I have ever seen Like, I'm not joking you. It to me, his fight against Dominic Cruz was more impressive than like Conor knocking out Jose and Conor knocking out Eddie Alvarez because of how long that fight lasted, the full 5 rounds, and how good Dominic Cruz actually was at that time. Dominic has obviously fallen off
Yeah.
now. He's older. But Eddie Alvarez was not as good as who Dominic Cruz was. Jose Aldo, 13 seconds. We didn't see 5 full rounds of him getting. Cody beat the living fuck out of Dominic Cruz in his prime.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to want to cheer for Cody. I do think Kelleher has a good shot at getting a submission. At this price, if I was not a fan of Cody, I probably would have jumped on Kelleher by finish already, or just Kelleher already. But I'm holding off, just kind of holding out hope that I get a little bit of gumption in Cody before Saturday, and maybe I'll like feel a little bit of passion or something, and not bet Kelleher. But I don't know. I'm a little bit
I
nervous
think
if Cody gets knocked out. I feel like end of the road might be near, and I don't want that. So we'll see though. It'll be a good fight. I think they're gonna swing. I think they're gonna swing hands and swing heavy. So should be good.
I, I think this could be Cody's first sub win. I'm telling you, Uriah Faber is not an idiot. That alpha male gym, they're smart people. And if you have a guy that's just lost by getting choked out back to back, why wouldn't you do that? You know, what's the thing that they're not expecting from Cody Garbrandt? Obviously, is any kind of sub attempt. So he could get sloppy.
Yep.
It's going to be like a plus. It's going to be what, plus 1,200?
Yeah. It's probably gonna be. He doesn't. I don't know. Does he even have a sub on his record?
No, he's got
Yeah.
none.
It'll be plus 800 or better for sure.
Well, can you? I'm definitely spraying a little bit of that. That might be the play of the year. That might be like my Juliana Pena. Um,
The old Juliana
sub.
Pena.
Yeah,
I
that might
remember
be.
I was on her. We both were on her then. I don't even know if we talked UFC at that point. I can't remember if we did or not, but we both were on Juliana Pena there because I remember we've talked about it since. Plus 700 money line. It was like plus
Yeah,
1500 by sub. It was some
yeah,
crazy
it was
shit.
something crazy.
Yeah,
All
man. This
right.
will be this will be good. I'm excited. This next fight I'm not as excited for though.
This I think is gonna this next one. Irene Aldana versus Carol Rosa. I don't have much on this. I think what we're gonna get is Irina Aldana is gonna legit beat the brakes off Carol Rosa. Um, Irina looked really, really good when she fought Yana Santos and Macy Chiasson. And then she got her title shot against Amanda, and she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like she got to that point and it just froze up and didn't even throw anything. Um, I think she realized that she had wasted an opportunity. Her boxing is ridiculous, and I think she's gonna come out here and just try and make a little redemption run for herself here, um, and try and do something. That 135 is it's available, man. Everybody's gonna start going for it. So, um, what better opportunity for here to make a statement and kind of show everybody that she is good enough and she wants to get back to a title. I mean, minus 210. I think that seems pretty fair. Um, I might take a little action of her by finish. But other than that, I just want to see how she looks if she's kind of shook off everything that happened with the Amanda fight.
Yeah, I think Arena Donna should be fine here. Carl Rosa, we can look at her wins. Yana Santos, Lena Landsberg, Betch Correa, and then we can look at her losses. Norma Dumont, Sarah McCann. I mean, she has no quality wins. And she also does not have many, you know, um, good losses. Like Norma Dumont, that's her best loss, and Norma Dumont still is never gonna fight for a title. So I'm not particularly high on Rosa. I'm not particularly high on Aldana, but I do think Aldana, we can look at her wins. Macy Chiasson, Yana Santos, Ketlin Vieira. Those are better than Carl Rosas. They do have that one win over Santos. And Irene Aldana's losses in her last five are Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes, both champions. So, you know, Aldana here for me, I think it could just be one of those decisions where she pumps a jab, pumps a 1-2, that sort of a deal. So I'll probably go with Aldana. I don't think Rosa could really do anything to hurt Aldana either. I think Aldana's got the finishing upside. I also just think Aldana's the better fighter here, and I think it's pretty clear as well. And this is at 135, and Rosa just fought at 145, so she's gonna have to cut extra 10 pounds there. Aldana just fought for the title at 135. Looked awful, but you fought Amanda
Well,
Nunes.
yeah, I mean, you gotta understand, she looked awful. She didn't do anything. That's what made her look awful. She just stood there like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, exactly. I think she's gonna look back on that and learn from it, and this fight will be different. So Aldana for me here. I like her chances of getting a bounce back.
Yeah, and this is interesting because, especially having her as the header of the prelims. So maybe it's saying, hey, we're putting you back in this spot because we don't have anybody at 135.
We got Emma and Mitchell is the head of the prelims.
They are?
Yeah, and then the opener is
Oh,
Luke
okay.
and Gary.
Gotcha. I thought, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then.
I
So,
I do
yeah,
think it's
I
good to
take
give
that back.
Aldana that second spot on the prelims though. Like at least she's at least up there on a good card. Good card being second to top on the prelims is pretty much like being on the main card of a fight night or top 3 fights of a fight night. So, I think she deserves
Yeah,
it
as
too.
long as.
I think they did it right.
Okay, here we go with this one.
I'm interested to hear your opinion on this one.
Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell. I'm not 100% sure. These guys are very, very similar when it comes to their fight history. Both guys lost to Ilya Taporia. Um, both guys have a win over Dan Ige. Um, Emmett's dropped his last two, but that was to Taporia and Yair Rodriguez. Um, Rodriguez got the win by triangle choke. Bryce Mitchell's last one was over Dan Ige decision. And before that, he got the absolute shit kicked out of him by Ilya Taporia. Um, even though the Taporia fight went to decision with Josh Emmett, Taporia beat the shit out of him as well. I think this is gonna come down to grappling, and I think I'm gonna go with Bryce Mitchell. I think the path to victory is 100% gonna be um, to go for a submission, but I think the way it's gonna happen is I think Emmett is gonna drop Mitchell, and then it'll go to the ground. That's the only thing I'd be concerned about. At plus 140 for Emmett, I would be interested to see what the odds are for him to win by knockout. This is something that I might take under 2.5 or Emmett by knockout, Mitchell by sub. I think this is going to be closer, even though Emmett's on a 2-fight skid. Bryce Mitchell, ever since he hit the twisters, hasn't really been too impressive.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that's a
but
good
he
assessment.
is good, and he could take a beating. But these guys aren't getting any easier. And even though Emmett was like I said on a 2-fight skid, uh, he could still crack with no questions asked. Bryce is a little bit longer. Um, in height, 5'10" to 5'6", same reach. Obviously, both guys are at 145. Uh, Big age difference, 38 to 29, in favor of Bryce. If Bryce wants to win this fight, he needs to grapple the fuck out of Josh Emmett. And if Josh Emmett wants to win, he has to knock Bryce out. Bryce is so tough though. That's the only thing. He's one of those guys uh, where he can just take the crazy amounts of damage. But you're also talking about taking damage from a guy like Josh Emmett who can legit put you to sleep.
Yeah, it
This
is
is going to be
tough.
a coin flip. Like I said, I could see Emmett just absolutely dropping and ground and pounding Bryce Mitchell. Or I could see him doing that and then Bryce Mitchell somehow getting a submission while he's getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, I'm leaning heavily towards Josh Emmett here. And the reason why is I think Josh Emmett falls between this kind of archetype that both of them have fought. They've both fought Ilya Taporia and they've both fought Dan Ige. And I think Emmett is a similar fighter to both of those. They're both stocky, shorter, 145 pounders, heavy hands. They're not known for their grappling, but they're competent grapplers, enough to not get submitted, enough to do all right on the ground, but they're not known for grappling. They're known for walking forward, brawling, and having heavy hands. I think Josh Emmett is much better than Dan Ige, but we saw he's much worse than Topuria. So it just depends how good is Bryce Mitchell. And we don't really know. Like, we've seen him fight, we've seen him beat Barboza, we saw him beat Ige, we saw him lose to Topuria. Where's he at? Where's he at there? And he's minus 220 now on the DraftKings line. And I feel like for that price, I think Emmett, it is very, very viable at plus 180 to catch Bryce at least once. Catch him on the chin, maybe just pressure him forward. And also, Emmett's lost to Ige, not Ige, sorry, that was Mitchell's last fight. But Emmett has lost to Yair Rodriguez and Ilya Topuria. Yair
Yeah.
just fought for the title. Topuria is fighting for the title. Lost to the best guys in the world. Before that, beat Cater. Cater is a fucking dog. Beat
Yep.
Ige and beat Burgos. Those are tough dudes. Mitchell has a win over Ige as well. But I think Emmett's going to be able to stuff the takedowns here at least early. As it goes on, things will get a little bit dicier because Emmett's going to get a little more tired, and Bryce probably has a little bit of a cardio advantage. But Emmett
No,
doesn't have
no way.
bad cardio.
No way. Yeah, you think Bryce Mitchell? You didn't see how gassed he was when he was fighting Taporia?
Well, that's because Taporia just beat the shit out of him. I think that was more to
He
damage.
he, he put the pace on him.
Yeah, and that
That's
dude,
what I
that's
think.
what I
I
think
think
Emmett
Emmett
can
can do
do.
the same thing. Yeah, yeah. That's the only thing that makes me nervous with Bryce Mitchell. Dude, he can, but he somehow survives the hits. He lost by submission. I don't know if that was because he just gave up or he wanted to get the hell out of there.
Taporia is
But
a good grappler. Taporia is a great
he is.
grappler.
He is. But I'm saying the amount of damage that he took
Yeah.
on the feet and by strikes, not taking anything away from Taporia, but was he saying, all right, you know what, get me the hell out of here? And he gave up the submission? Or,
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? Was he exhausted, beat up, and got out of there? Um, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it was the cardio or if it was because of that where he got finished because he just got exhausted.
Yeah. I also I'm just not convinced that Bryce Mitchell's going to be able to make a run at 145 when he's training like in a barn. Like
Yeah, that's a good, very good point.
he doesn't have partners that are going to be able to emulate what Josh Emmett can do because Josh Emmett just fought for an interim fucking title. 2 fights ago. Like Josh Emmett is
Yeah.
at the top of 145, and Bryce Mitchell doesn't have training partners that are going to be able to walk forward with the power that Emmett has and test Bryce Mitchell. So I kind of feel like Emmett's the side, and I'm probably going to just have his money line here because I'm not confident that he can finish Bryce because Bryce is really, really tough. But I also wouldn't be surprised because I think Emmett does have the power to really stop anybody if he catches you clean. So I'll have some just on the money line because I think he could get a finish or he could win a decision here.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Cool. All right. This is one that me and you, Timbo, are not gonna agree on. This is Vicente Luque coming off of his big win in his return after brain damage to beating RDA versus Ian Machado Gary, the man who is the talk of Twitter, the man who everyone thinks is a chair in the corner of the hotel room watching his wife with another man. I'm not going to say the words, but that's essentially what people are talking about on Twitter. They're talking about, his wife marrying him for his future, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the fight. And these guys have trained together before. These guys have felt each other's power and felt each other's footwork. And Gary's a big favorite because he's gonna get juiced. Everyone thinks he's like the next McGregor. I
Yep.
am gonna take Gary. The reason is not because I think this guy is gonna be the champ. The reason is not because I think this guy is gonna be a world beater. The reason is because Luque is a really, really good hammer, but Luque is a really, really bad nail. We saw Luque get outboxed by Bilal Muhammad. We saw Luque get outboxed by Jeff Neal. We saw Luque get absolutely obliterated by Stephen Thompson. When he is in a fight that he does not have the striking advantage, Luque crumbles every single time. And I think if there's one thing that Luque is going to need to do in this fight is he needs to get it to the ground because Gary's a good striker. No matter how, no matter what happens outside of the octagon or, in his first few fights, we've recently seen that Gary is a very fucking good striker. No one's done what we saw him do to Neil Magny, and no one did what we saw him do to Daniel Rodriguez. He knocked Daniel Rodriguez clean out, and then he frustrated the living hell out of Neil Magny until Neil Magny didn't even throw a single punch for like 2 rounds straight because he couldn't figure out what was going on. So for me, I think Gary is going to be the hammer here, and I think it's gonna come down to the head kicks and the length and the distance management. Luque though, I think if he were to take this to the ground, I think he'd have a lot of success. I just don't have any faith in him to actually try to shoot takedowns here against Gary. Um, but yeah, I'm on the Gary side, and I know you're on the Luque side, so give it to me here.
Yeah. So we're doing this right now on a Wednesday. And Ian Gary has not even done any media. He said he was worried about traveling here and with all the stuff that's going on. I have no idea where this kid's headspace is. Not only to be thrust into the UFC, becoming a star, being Irish compared to Conor McGregor, which I think is ludicrous. Um, to now having all the fighters talking about you, not doing any media, going against a guy that you've trained with, that you would consider friends or friendly with. I don't think his headspace is in the right place. Um, and normally, I would say, yeah, I think he could get it done. But what really surprised me is after that loss for Vicente Luque, after that loss to Jeff Neal, right?
Yeah.
The way he fought RDA was a fucking masterclass. And I don't think anybody really saw um that coming, especially with he stuffed what all of RDA's takedown
Yep.
attempts. Didn't he stuff? It was something
Yeah.
crazy that he stuffed them all. Um, and he did good work on the feet. He has the footwork, but he, like you said, he needs to take him down to the ground. He subbed Chiesa, which was fucking crazy as well. He subbed Woodley, which isn't crazy, but getting Woodley to the ground and then getting him in a Darce choke. He's got the loss to Bilal Muhammad. That was a very odd fight for me. He had Muhammad on the cage the whole time, but then he would just fucking get lit up, which I don't understand. That was a very weird fight. And then he had the loss to Jeff Neal. So MMA math though, he's got a loss to Jeff Neal. Um, who is Jeff Neal's legit. He's still legit. I mean, the fight against D Rod, I get it. Hanan Song with Ian Gary, we saw he got clipped there.
Yeah, he got dropped.
And that's why we went. And that's why we went on D Rod. And then he's got to win over Neil Magny. Neil Magny's not the same Neil Magny. D Rod isn't who we thought he was. Kanan Song clipped him. He fought Gabe Green to a decision. How's Gabe Green doing? And he fought Darian Weeks to a decision.
You got to remember
Luque
he's
beat.
26. So those were when he was like
Yeah,
23.
yeah, okay. So you got a win over Tyron Woodley, champion. Michael Chiesa, not a champion, but he was on a hot run at that time. He's got a loss to Bilal Muhammad, who now apparently is better than everybody fucking thought, and possibly fighting the winner of the main event. So that's gonna be a title shot. Jeff Neal, who can crack, and then over RDA, who's a champion. So you got a guy that's fighting fucking nobodies, and now they're gonna step him up against Luque, who, like I said, looked amazing, has much more experience, and Gary is in a mental disaster of a place right now. Um, and he's fighting somebody that he knows. He doesn't. What's he gonna do? Accuse Luque of hitting his kids and shit like that? He doesn't have any of that because now he's the one on the opposite end of it, where people are saying all this shit and nasty shit to him. I don't think it's gonna work out well for him, and I'm willing to do a little coffee bet on this one. Um, I think it's gonna be Luque.
All right.
I'm on Luque. I'm
I'm
on
down
Luque,
for an
especially at
old
plus
bag of
at plus
coffee.
at plus money. You can't tell me you weren't impressed with the bounce back against RDA.
I was definitely impressed. I was definitely impressed with it. I'm just worried that Luque is going to forever be bound in this, number 5 to number 15 area at welterweight and just continue bouncing around. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose one. But
But when you're fighting guys at this level, who is the toughest fight for Ian Machado? Neil Magny?
yeah, yep.
Neil Magny.
Neil fucking
I
Magny.
understand. Like I understand, Neil Magny is that guy now. Unfortunately, where it's like, all right, we'll give you Neil Magny. It's he's got to win over Neil Magny. People know who Neil Magny is.
Yeah.
You know, but Neil Magny is he hasn't strung 2 wins together since he beat fucking Robbie Lawler in 2020. Then he lost to Kiasen. Then he beat Jeff Neal. Then he lost to Joaquin Silva in a grappling match. Then he beat Max Griffin. So if you want to go UFC, yes, okay. He's strung 2 together, Jeff Neal and Max Griffin. But that's his last and he fucking Darce choked D Rod. So D Rod's lost to both those guys.
Yep.
Neil Magny and Ian Gary. He's got to win over a split win over Phil Rowe. I mean,
Phil Rowe. It's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
but that's what I'm saying. Neil Magny isn't. It's not Neil Magny when he fought Robbie Lawler. And I don't. the level of competition isn't the same, and it's not like Vicente Luque is an old guy. 170 at 32 years old. This is a nice little sweet spot for him.
Yeah, this is his
Um,
prime.
and he's got the experience. He doesn't care. He's fought the who's who. This will be Gary's toughest fight yet. Um, but I do like Luque here. I think he's more focused, man. I think he's dialed in, and he's ready to rock. And when you have a guy that can't face any adversity, and then he's not even doing media, what the fuck do you think is going to happen once he gets locked into that cage and everybody's watching him? Now it's time. You didn't do anything. You didn't say anything. You better deliver. Can you imagine the pressure that's going to be on his shoulders to get a W? It's going to be insane. Luque's going out there just to listen. It doesn't make a difference. I just dropped two. I had a great performance. Let's win one here and go home. Get the job done. Go home. It's a little bit different for Ian Gary.
Yeah, Ian Gary, I mean, the pressure is always going to be on him. He's a 13-0 Irish welterweight, number 9 in the world at 26 years old. He's going to have that pressure either way. I mean, girlfriend or wife thing or not, I mean, there's going to be loads of pressure on him just to perform. I'm just interested to see how Luque is going to deal with the range here because Luque in the past has not dealt with rangy fighters well. Like when he fought Wonder Boy, it was awful. He got fucking pieced up.
Yeah, I don't think Ian Gary's a wonder boy. And you're not.
Yeah,
And here's the
definitely
thing
not.
too. You're talking about when he got pieced up because of the range of Wonder Boy. You're also talking about when he fought Wonder Boy in 2019.
Yeah.
That's 2019 Wonder Boy. I think 2023 Wonder Boy would piece up Ian Gary.
Probably Wonder Boy now would have a good shot in that fight.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta remember, Vicente Luque has a win over the number one African fighter in the world, Platinum Mike Perry.
Platinum Mike Perry. Which is
All you
making a
need to
life
know.
for himself over there at Bare Knuckle, dude.
Yeah. So I'm locked in. Vicente Luque, coffee bet.
Alright. Coffee bet.
Gonna
I'll
happen.
take the
And
the
that's
big
and
man
that's
Ian Gary.
and that's a massive dog on this card too.
I know, I'm surprised you agreed to it.
Why wouldn't I?
I guess you're just that confident in Luque.
Yeah, that's what champions do.
Oh, this next one I'm psyched for. This next one I'm fucking pumped for. Great fight here. Absolutely awesome matchmaking. And it's one last ride for Tony, dude. It is one last fucking ride for Tony. And there's nothing in his favor here. He's lost like 14 fights in a row. He's like 45 years old. He's been fighting with a basically health coach he's basically Diego Sanchez when he was training with that guy who was hanging him upside down and punching him. Fabio. He's basically in that right now. He has David
Yeah.
Goggins over there making him puke while running and then telling him to get back on the treadmill. Probably honestly, David Goggins probably told him we should tear a couple of your muscles before this fight so that you have to work harder for it. He probably told him some bullshit like let's rip your ACL out real quick so you have to really prove it to yourself. And Tony was like, "Fuck yeah, David." But this is one last ride with Tony. Patty's a fraud. We saw it. Patty gets fat between fights. Patty can't handle people who hit hard. Patty was getting pieced up by Jared Gordon. Who the fuck is Jared Gordon? Exactly. This is Tony. This is El Cucuy. This is the boogeyman. He's got one last in us. Or in for us, I guess. He's not quite 40. He's 39. We haven't hit the big 4-0. This is going to be the one that Patty's got to take on the chin. And Tony's the guy to do it. And Tony, he's looked bad in his last few fights, but he's also had shining moments, quick little here and there. He had a good round against Bobby. He hurt Bobby. Bobby had to poke him in the eyeball.
Yeah.
And Tony knocked down Michael Chandler. Tony knocked down Justin Gaethje. All within the past few years. This is Tony's spot. I think he's gonna get it done here. And Tony, when he does this, everyone in the world, everyone in Europe, gonna be shocked. They don't know about Tony. They don't fucking know Tony like us. They're gonna be shocked. Our boy Patty lost. Your boy Patty fucking sucks. Tony's an OG legend of the game. He's coming in. He's getting it done. He said something today that solidified it for me. He said, Patty's over there worried about who the fuck is following him on Twitter. I'm over here, OG of the fight game. Don't give a fuck. Don't even know about no Twitter. He said that in an interview, and I said, done. Tony's the boy this week. It's going to be on Tony, and it's going to be beautiful when he pulls this shit out. I think he can finish Patty. I think he can get a decision over Patty. I mean, I think he could win either way. So I don't really have a strong take on how he's going to win, but it's fucking Tony time this weekend, and I think he's going to make it look easier than people expect.
Yeah, this is one where it wouldn't surprise me if Patty doesn't make weight. I've called some weight things before. This would not surprise me. I don't think he'd be taking this camp that serious. Just with Tony's recent stretch of fights, but I also think that Bobby Green, Nate Diaz, Michael Chandler, Dariush, Charlie Oliveira would absolutely Gaethje would fucking murder Patty. Do I think Tony can lose? Absolutely. At this point, he's a very stubborn guy. Most would have hung him up. I'm not really thrilled about the training with David Goggins, and he's going to be in his corner. I don't think that helped at all. Unless more so it was for the mental aspect. Maybe it was kind of like a mental block for him to kind of just move forward and get over this horrible fucking skid that he's been on. But he does hit hard. He did look phenomenal against Michael Chandler until he didn't. He did look phenomenal against Bobby Green until that eye poke. But once it goes south, it goes south. I don't think Patty can sub him. I think Patty could clip him. But I think there's going to be a problem when Patty clips him and Tony's still in his face. I think Tony's going to put a pace on him. I do think I have to. At this point, you have to throw some money on Tony. This could be it for him. I would love nothing more than Tony getting a dub here and ride off into the sunset. If he doesn't, I would like to see him ride off into the sunset regardless. Tony's long, lanky, got fucking crazy elbows, extremely awkward. This isn't the normal cookie cutter fight for Patty, and I think Patty's going to have a lot of problems.
Yeah, I'm there with you, man. And I also just think it's, I don't know. I think this is kind of that Robbie Lawler spot for Tony. That spot where he's getting a fight that he can, actually compete in after a couple fights where it was, he was able to compete, but it was not. Back in the day, there would have been fights he could have won. But, the Michael Chandler fight, it didn't really look like that was going to go Tony's way from the jump. Same with Gaethje, it just looked like he was too far out of it. This fight, though, he's got every shot possible here. And I think I think he's gonna get it done. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. It's a weird feeling. I just think that all the experience and the dedication and the work ethic of Tony um is gonna pay off here. The whole weight thing with Patty, I really don't get. I don't know why he does it. I don't know if he's just not disciplined enough. And he's coming off an injury. Let's not forget he is coming off an injury. So we shall see. I mean, how long has he been training? How long has he just been eating like a fucking madman? That's why it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't make weight. I haven't seen any of the media portion yet. I'll look tomorrow, but I want to see how Patty looks.
Yeah,
Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if he misses weight, and
yeah,
then I will be devastated if he misses weight, and then they don't have the fight. But Tony, knowing Tony, Tony don't give a shit. He'll take 20% of Patty's purse and say let's roll.
agreed. All right, this is my favorite, one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Shavkat, and they definitely gave Wonderboy quite the pay bump because he said in multiple interviews, "I'm not fighting Shavkat. I'm 41. I don't want to fight these up and comers who are probably going to beat me." He was candid about it. He said it. So they gave him quite the pay bump, I'd assume, and he was already making like 250K per fight. So I would figure they doubled that or better. So he's getting paid here. I'm happy. If he loses here, it might be right out into the sunset, and he's a plus 400 underdog. So this fight, maybe one more, but the sunset is coming down for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And this fight, looking at it from a breakdown without having any bias, it's not looking great. 29-year-old from Kazakhstan, absolute beast. And I love Shavkat. He's probably one of my favorite up and coming fighters. I love his nickname. I love his aura. I love his fight style. I love everything about the guy. I think he's who everyone thinks Hamzat Chimaev is. I think Shavkat runs through 170. I don't think there's a guy at 170 who beats him. Um, I do think the price is getting a little disrespectful towards Wonderboy. This is the best striker in the UFC, and I don't think it's really a question. There might have been people who would have said Adesanya. There might have been people who would have said other names. But to me, Wonderboy is the best striker, pure striker in the UFC. Um, and I did see some things in that Jeff Neal fight where Shavkat kept his chin up real high, left it out there, got a little dirty with the striking. I don't think he's going to do that here. I think he knows what he's dealing with, and I think he knew what he was dealing with Jeff Neal. I think he knew he could big brother Jeff Neal. Wonderboy, if you leave your chin up like that and you walk forward throwing hooks, he's going to catch you on your chin, and you're going to wake up, looking at the lights.
Yeah.
So I don't think Wonderboy's going to catch him here, but if the price comes out and it's Wonderboy by knockout over plus 800, it'll just have to be an auto bet simply because that number is crazy at that point. Wonderboy can knock out anybody at 170 at any time. I do think Rakhmonov is going to win, and I think it'll be a sub. Honestly, if I had to, I would probably bet Rakhmonov arm triangle. If there was a way to bet that, I would bet him by arm triangle because I think that's probably his most likely outcome here. I think he comes out and he makes quick work of Thompson, gets on top, and I think he's going to get a submission. Thompson's going to take his money, be happy, but there's always that little chance of him coming out like he did against Jeff Neal, which if he did would be a grave fucking mistake because Wonderboy's got a different level of striking. But Rakhmonov is going to be the pick here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I agree with everything you said. I don't think Rachmanov is gonna take the same approach that Kevin Holland took. Whereas once it goes to the ground, I'm gonna fucking get up like an idiot, and let you kick the shit out of me. So I think it is gonna be Rachmanov. I think he might want to take a round to just strike with him, feel him out, and then just take him down. I mean, this is crazy. I don't know why they're doing Wonder Boy like this. But if Wonder Boy can catch him, that would be amazing. But I don't think that is the case. This is kind of one of those where it's like, is this the end of the road for Wonder Boy? It's a fat payday, and then he's doing his own thing. So I would love it for Wonder Boy. I'm cheering for Wonder Boy, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be cheering here for him, but it is what it is. He's probably just gonna get finished. Okay, you want to lead us off with the co-main here?
Yeah. So this one, I'm excited for. I think this is gonna be, um, this title fight is gonna be the best title fight. We got Pantoja versus Royval. Um, Royval has been on a tear, but I think Pantoja is just on a completely different level. Especially with the way he's been stringing it together for Pantoja, I think he has more ways to win. Keep in mind, we've already seen this fight before, and it did not go um, in Royval's favor. He got subbed out by Pantoja. And also, he got stopped, granted, due to a shoulder injury. He got stopped by Brandon Moreno, which we just saw Pantoja win. Split decision. I didn't think it was. I thought it was a straight decision for Pantoja. But the whole thing that it's going to come down to, I think, is going to be the grappling. I think the smart way for Pantoja to win is to take him down and sub him like he did last time they fought. What is crazy to me is when Brandon Royval last fought, when he fought Mateus Nicolau, he absolutely fucking lit him up. Um, I think that was his best performance yet, was with that fight. But also Matthias Nicolau, um, great record. I don't think he's on that same level as Pantoja. I think that was a fight where it was supposed to be Nicolau was supposed to get the win over Royval, and then that would kind of elevate his career and kind of step him up. But the fact that Royval got this fight, um, to me, I think it's a little bit much. I wouldn't have picked Royval, but this division's been so fucking held up um, the last couple of years with Moreno and Figgy. It is nice to see different guys fight, but I don't think this fight is going to be any different than it was last time. Um, I think Pantoja is going to win. I think the confidence is going to be huge for him. He knows he's already beat him once before. He's going to go in there and he's just going to try and take him down, use his experience and the same techniques. He's not going to get clipped, and he's going to choke him out. Literally go in there, take him down, choke him out. And I could see this being pretty quick because I think there's a lot of emotion in Brandon Royval, and he's going to make a mistake, and Pantoja is going to be composed and take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think Pantoja, which by the way, I have a tweet stamped from back after he beat Manel Cape. Actually, I can't remember when it was. I have a tweet stamped of myself saying Pantoja is gonna be the world champ. So when he won that belt in that last fight, I was pretty psyched because like for 3 or 4 years I've been in this dude's corner, um, and I've texted you today. I was like, who you got? I'm pretty back and forth on this one. I went back and watched a couple of their recent fights, and I really think Pantoja is one of the best grapplers in the UFC. Like, I really, really just think Pantoja is on a different level on the mat. Um, he's so technical. His back takes are a thing of beauty. He is next level. And I think he's the perfect fighter to beat Royval as well because Royval he relies on wildness and, doing things that are unorthodox. Pantoja's the exact opposite. You do
Yeah.
anything wild against you, oh, he's got your back. Oh, he's literally choking you out right now because you thought you were going to throw a crazy spinning kick or you thought you were going to overhand him and he literally just snuck around to your back because you took a risk that you should not have taken. And so I think Royval has to fight really, really smart here, and we haven't seen that out of him. And I'm not going to feel comfortable betting on him doing something that we haven't seen him do. He does have the reach and the height. He's tall. He's on a streak here. But Pantoja is the fucking man. He just banged it out with Brandon Moreno. Both of them landing punches that would have knocked out a horse and walked through both of them. Moreno, credit to Moreno too. That was the best fight of the year in my opinion. Best fight of the year by far. I thought it was fantastic. I was blown away that I got to watch that live. I actually felt like genuinely afterwards I was like, "Damn, I am a lucky human that I got to watch that live." That's how you know it's a good fight. But Pantoja here, the only way I see Pantoja losing is if he gets knocked out. And after we saw, that fight with Moreno, I mean, Pantoja's chin is made of iron. So Royval would have to land something crazy, I think, and knock out Pantoja because Royval's not submitting Pantoja. And I don't think Royval can beat him more than 3 of 5 rounds, which is what he would have to do in a decision. You have to win 3 or more, or, 10-8 or something. But I don't think he can do that. I think if this goes 5, Pantoja handles him. And I think if, this finishes on the mat, I think Pantoja handles him. And also, I think Pantoja's the better striker. I just, Royval's got that wildness. He's got that opportunity. I just don't see it happening here. So I'm in Pantoja's corner. And I think, I think he gets it done the way you said. I think he's going to find his back first or second round. And I think he's going to break Brandon Royval's heart. And I think he's going to do it rear naked choke, make it look a lot easier than it actually was because he has a way of doing that, just finishing people or beating people, making it look easy. Although Brandon Royval looks pretty tough. But yeah, he gets backpacks and he chokes people out, and it looks like he was fighting a toddler. But yeah,
Yeah,
Pantoja for
it's
me.
the grappling Royval is fantastic. I just think Pantoja is just a whole nother level.
Agreed, 100%, man. Like Pantoja, we talk about like Oliveira being one of the best MMA grappler. Um, Pantoja's up there. He's in that range of submits guys, makes guys who are quote unquote good grapplers look like juveniles on the ground. And Oliveira does the same thing, taking down Tony and making Tony look stupid on the ground. That sort of a thing. That's the same thing with
Yeah.
Pantoja. He's the same sort of fighter. He makes guys who are good grapplers look stupid when they get put on their back.
Yeah, this is. I think this is going to be a great fight while it lasts. But like you said, who knows? This is the tough part because after that Nicolau fight, I was very very surprised by Royval. Um, but I just Pantoja grinded and got here, and I don't see him giving up this strap anytime soon. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 good years in him here. He's 33. I think he's got 2 more years of beating the top guys, and then maybe he'll lose to a challenger or someone good at that point. But I mean, he's too good right now to lose this fight, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
No, I agree 100%.
Oh man, this is the main event, Tim. This is your favorite fighter of all time, Colby Covington.
Yeah, listen,
Whoo!
this is a tough one too. And like I was telling you before, don't I don't think this is gonna be um an exciting fight. I think this is going to be like Usman Edwards one minus the head kick.
I agree. I 100% agree with you.
Let me ask you a question. Who do you think has better um takedown defense, Masvidal or Edwards?
Um, honestly, I think so. I think Edwards is much more athletic, and so he gets out of some takedowns because he's more athletic. But I think Masvidal actually had better takedown defense, like technically. But if I don't know if I had to pick one, short answer, I would probably say Edwards.
Okay, so but you're on the fence. You're not really sure. You're gonna
No, it's
try and say,
close. It's
well,
for sure close.
it's close. It's close. If it's close, it's not gonna be a close fight.
Yeah, I agree.
Masvidal laid on the fucking ground the whole time and couldn't do anything. That is gonna be the same thing here. If Leon stuffs one takedown, right, he's gonna have to try and stuff number two. If he makes it somehow to 15 takedown attempts, right, it doesn't make a difference. Colby is gonna keep shooting and trying to take you down. It's gonna be an absolute fucking disaster. I think it's gonna be a snooze fest of a fight. Colby just on top, pot shotting him, getting control time. I think there's gonna be a lot of the people in the crowd booing. Um, Colby's there for one reason, to get that belt. This has been something that he's tried and tried and tried and couldn't get past Usman. I think this is gonna be just a lay and pray and pot shot and get the strap. I think Edwards is gonna have to knock him out. But the whole thing is, I don't I don't know if he can. I really don't know if he can. Usman looked like dog shit last fight against Edwards, and he didn't get finished again. It was a
Yeah.
lot closer. That fight was a lot closer um, than I think people realize. So you're taking a Colby who still has good knees. He's ready to rock. He's been waiting for this moment for so long. Not that um, Edwards hasn't, but Colby just can't get past that Usman. Now that Usman's not there, this is if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen now. This is Colby's last shot. If this doesn't work out, Colby's gonna have to go to 185 and try and get that strap. That's the way it's gonna go. Like I said, I think it's gonna be boring. I don't think Leon's gonna have an answer for the takedowns. I think, uh, I think Usman even said he's like, if Colby goes for a takedown, Leon Edwards is gonna try and defend it by being along the fence. Colby's gonna try and drag him out into the center of the octagon, or Colby's gonna shoot fucking something crazy, um, and try and get him on the ground. And even if it does go to the fence, I think Colby won't have that much of a hard time getting him down. This is gonna be Edwards Masvidal all over again.
Yeah. I gotta ask you this before I give my spiel. You think Cody gets knocked out at or Colby? Sorry, I don't know why I said Cody. Colby gets knocked out at 185, right?
It depends on who he fights.
Let's say he goes up, he wins a fight against a bum, and then they give him Sean Strickland.
Do I think he gets knocked out? No, I don't think so.
You think he
I
makes
don't
it
think so.
makes it fun?
I don't think anybody. let's put it this way. Who who can he not take down at 185?
Sean.
You don't think he'd take down Sean Strickland at 185?
I don't think he's taking down Sean Strickland at 185.
I think Colby's a little bit of a weight bully himself. I think you'd be surprised.
This guy's only 5'11".
It, okay. He's 5'11". What are his accolades? What are his wrestling accolades? So you're telling me, he's only 5'11". Are you serious?
Yeah, bro, 5'11" at 185. I mean, at that point, you're going to be fighting guys like Paulo Costa. You're going to be fighting guys like Marvin Vettori, Robert Whitaker, who are fucking animals and are 6'1" pure muscle. I just don't think he can take those guys down.
You're talking about 2 inches. You're talking about, what about a guy like Izzy?
I think he can get Izzy down once or twice.
But that's what I'm saying. Izzy was the champ.
Yeah, he's got a shot. I mean, I think you're not gonna like this. I bet he grapple fucks Pereira. He just have to avoid the hook.
What are you talking about? I wouldn't like it. That's 100%. It wouldn't even be a question.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be a question. But you also have to understand the pedigree, the wrestling pedigree that he has and that he implements.
Yeah. I mean,
there's no stop. There's no cardio issues. There is nothing. It's constant pressure, 100%, 100% of the time.
Yeah. I agree. And this, like you said too, this is his last shot. He's going to be 36 in 2 months. You don't really get a title shot at 170 or below when you're 37 coming off a loss. You're going to have to go back, win a fight or two, probably 2 here, considering he's got 3 title shots if he loses this fight. He'd probably have to win 2 fights. At that point, you're going to be 37, 38 because Colby fights about once a year. Yeah. What are we looking at then? You're probably going to lose one of those because you're 38 fucking years old. So this is Colby's last shot. And I want to talk about Leon's wins. His last few wins. Because the guy has not really looked impressive. Which, champion of the world. How can you say that? Champion of the world. We go back. Dos Anjos decision looked fine. Nate Diaz decision looked good the first 4 rounds. 5th round somehow almost got finished by Nate fucking Diaz. Nate Diaz is a 155er who's 40 years old who, who is Nate fighting right now? He's fighting a fucking lighter to get his blunt going. Lost to Jake Paul in boxing. Beat the ghost of Tony Ferguson. And Leon Edwards almost got knocked out by that guy.
Yeah.
Kamaru first fight, down 4 rounds. Not looking good. Hail Mary. Last possible knockout blow. And he caught it. Beautiful moment. I made a ton of money on Leon Edwards that night. I had a very, very irresponsibly sized bet on Leon Edwards. And so for him to land that, it was one of the coolest MMA moments of all time. His speech afterwards, all respect to the guy. He comes back. Kamaru Usman has no knees. Kamaru Usman is scared of him. Kamaru Usman is literally tentative to do anything in that octagon because he just got knocked out by Leon. And Leon proceeds to put on a 5-round snooze fest. Looked like he wasn't even trying. If Leon would have let his hands go in that fight, he would have finished Kamaru again, no doubt in my mind. He chose not to. He chose not to press the gas. He chose to let it be way closer than it needed to be. There were people on Twitter who thought Kamaru won that fight. I wasn't one of them, but there were people who thought Kamaru won that fight because Edwards just didn't press the gas when he needed to. And I think it all goes back to, why did he not press that gas? He has no confidence in his cardio. I don't think he has confidence in his cardio, and I think Colby is going to exploit that. I think Colby is the guy who's going to exploit Leon Edwards' insecurity in his own cardio because it's founded. I don't think Leon Edwards has the best cardio for a champion. I don't think he has 5 round cardio. And if he does have 5 round cardio, it has to be a slow 5 rounds. And if there's one thing Colby Covington is going to do, it's going to be not allow a slow 5 round fight. You're going to have to move. You're going to have to defend takedowns. And I think Leon can defend the first 7 minutes of takedowns. I think he can defend, the first round and a half of takedowns. So this is going to be where the fight teeters. If Leon Edwards in the first round and a half, 2 rounds, can put enough damage on Colby Covington to make him scared to shoot takedowns and or physically hinder him enough, body shots, leg kicks, to make his takedowns weaker in those final 3 rounds, Leon's got a shot. If he does not, it's going to be, a lot of it's going to be leg kicks, getting that power on the takedowns. And a lot of it's going to be body kicks and just making him tentative to shoot in, whether it's knees up the middle, uppercuts up the middle. He's going to have to make Colby tentative to shoot takedowns. If he's unable to make Colby respect him and also just get a little bit of damage on those knees, take a little bit of power out of those legs, shoot those shots up the middle to tell Colby don't shoot a double leg. If he's unable to do that, he is going to get his crotch sniffed for 3 of the 5 rounds at the minimum. And also, if Colby gets an early takedown, I don't think Leon's getting up. If Colby gets a takedown first round, I don't think Leon's getting up, and I think that's going to make him nervous, tire him out even more, get him anxious, get in his head, and then he's going to get taken down again, and then the fight's going to be over because then Colby will lay on him for 2 more rounds. I don't think Colby's going to finish him. So I think it's Colby here. And I think at the current price, let me go look at the exact price you can get on Colby. I think it's pretty clear that Colby should be the guy that you should be betting on at this price. Plus 140. I mean, I would line this about even. I would line this, Edwards has knockout power, and if he can defend those first, 2 rounds of takedowns, he could get enough leg kicks in to where Colby's takedowns are pretty weak. He could time a good shot. He's got the finishing upside here. But I think Colby is a great, great fighter, almost built to beat Leon Edwards. Pressure, cardio weapon, grappling. That's exactly how you have to beat Leon Edwards. And Usman just wasn't able to do that because Usman's knees don't exist any longer. Usman 3 years ago would have grapple fucked Leon Edwards all day. But Usman literally cannot run at all because he genuinely just does not have kneecaps. So Colby, for me, and also he's training in altitude in Colorado, likely taking some sort of steroid. Gonna have better cardio than normal. So
Yeah.
I'm on Colby here. I think plus 140 is a gift. Yeah, I'm pretty big on Colby here actually. More than I thought I was gonna be before I watched the tape. Watching the tape, I was just unimpressed with Leon, and then I just saw the puzzle go together of, wow, Colby has all the tools here to dismantle Leon.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Give me 1 second on something. I think we might have some news.
Oh, no. Is it Bilal Muhammad? Don't tell me it's Bilal. Fucking Bilal or something. Backup fighter Bilal Muhammad steps in for Leon Edwards. And we have a non-title fight or some bullshit. Are you on Twitter looking at the news?
All right, so from what I'm seeing, Ian Gary is out.
Chael Sonnen says Ian Gary is out. Wow.
I don't know how official it is coming from Chael. He has been pretty. He's been pretty on point usually.
I'm trying to see if there's any like credible outside of Chael.
Um, he's apparently extremely sick. So it could be a bacterial infection. It wouldn't surprise me. He did not do any media today.
Yeah, I mean it would line up with him being sick.
So, something to keep an eye on. So if he pulls out, I default win. So it is what
Oh,
it
that would be about like your fucking game raw win. That'd be about as legitimate as that one.
is. A win's a win.
You're lucky you didn't get the fucking coffee beans I grew in my backyard where my dog poops after you took those beans off my hand. I do have some good beans to send you this time around, though. I got some an idea of what I'm gonna send. If Vicente Luque beats Ian Carey,
Yeah. Well, we shall see.
we shall. All right. Well, appreciate everyone who's watching this, and Tim, it was good as always.
Yes, sir.